Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here. If you love getting straight to the core of the facts, well, you are definitely in the right place. We have a seriously packed slate today that perfectly highlights the incredibly high stakes of modern football. We're talking about balancing the grueling physical demands of a massive international tournament with the relentless high-stakes chess game of club transfers. So we're going to look closely at exactly what is happening with some key players as we head into the World Cup, focusing heavily on player fitness and how that directly impacts starting lineups. Then we'll zoom out and look at the future infrastructure and roster moves that are going to define Barcelona's next era. Let's get into it. And this brings us to our biggest question right off the bat. It's our micro mystery for the day. Is Lamine Yamal actually ready for the World Cup opener? We all know the immense physical toll the European club season takes on the human body, right? When you're a young phenom carrying the crushing weight of national expectations, literally every single training session, every sprint, every recovery day matters. The starting lineup impact of his fitness status simply cannot be overstated here. Is he truly 100%, ready to terrorize fullbacks from minute one? Or are we looking at a highly strategic, calculated compromise by the medical and coaching staff? Okay, let's map out exactly where we are headed. First, we'll look at a massive World Cup fitness boost for Spain. Second, we'll analyze Yamal's lineup impact. Third, we're looking at the intense race for the 2029 Champions League Final. And finally, a rapid-fire breakdown of the latest transfer market rumors. Let's kick things off with Section 1, World Cup fitness boost, and getting crucial players back on the pitch. So there was a massive collective sigh of relief for Spain fans based on the latest reports coming out of the United States. On Thursday, both Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams returned to full training. Now picture this. They are currently at the Spanish national team's base camp, which is uniquely situated in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This location was specifically chosen to help the squad acclimate, isolate from the noise, and really dial in their focus. Getting both of these incredibly dynamic, explosive wingers back to full contact regular training drills is absolutely the best case scenario at this critical stage of their prep. When we talk about player fitness leading into a World Cup opener, being cleared for just isolated running, that's not enough. You need to be in the rondos, taking physical contact and testing those muscles at maximum velocity. This is the exact metric you want to see, officially cleared by the rigorous medical staff and fully integrated out on the grass with the rest of the 26-man squad. It completely shifts the psychological momentum of the entire camp. Which leads us straight into Section 2, Yamal's lineup impact and the reality of managing minutes. Now, there is a huge tension here between medical clearance and tactical reality. Spain's coach, Luis de la Fuente, went on record last week stating he expects Yamal to be ready to play in their opening World Cup game. However, and this is a massive however, he immediately admitted that the Barcelona winger's involvement could be limited to just a few minutes. This tells us everything we need to know about the tightrope international managers have to walk. You have a generational talent who is technically physically capable of taking the pitch, but the risk-reward calculation of throwing him into a full, high-intensity 90-minute grind on day one, that's weighing heavily on the coaching staff. If you start him and he aggravates an injury, well, his entire tournament could be over before it even begins. It's a game of microscopic margins, balancing the desperate need to win the opening match to set the tone against protecting the long-term health of your most vital asset. So we are looking at a really stark contrast in modern football fitness. On one hand, you have the overwhelmingly positive news, full training status, completely cleared for high-intensity action at the base camp. But on the other, the stark reality of the situation, limited match minutes, likely restricted to a cameo role off the bench. Why does this matter so much? Because tournament football is a marathon, guys. It's not a sprint. The starting lineup impact here is utterly fascinating. Spain is essentially planning to hold their most explosive weapon in reserve, carefully managing his physical load rather than risking a catastrophic setback. This changes the entire tactical approach for their opening match. It fundamentally forces the opposition manager into a nightmare scenario. They have to prepare their squad for two completely different game states. First, how to defend a more traditional Spanish setup for the first 60 or 70 minutes, and second, how to survive when a fully rested, dynamic Lamine Yamal comes flying off the bench against defenders who already have a brutal hour of heavy running in their legs. It's player protection, repurposed as a devastating tactical weapon. All right, pivoting away from international duty, let's hit Section 3, the 2029 Champions League and the final contenders to host the biggest match in club football. There is a heavyweight battle happening off the pitch right now. Wednesday was the official UEFA deadline for submitting bids to host the 2029 Champions League Final. The window closed without any last-minute surprise entrants, meaning it is officially a highly anticipated two-horse race. On one side, we have Barcelona's Spotify Camp Nou, their iconic fortress that's currently undergoing a massive multi-billion-dollar euro state-of-the-art renovation. Barcelona is pitching a futuristic vision here: increased capacity, modernized VIP hospitality suites to maximize revenue, and a completely transformed fan experience. On the other side is their sole rival, London's historic Wembley Stadium. Wembley is relying on its sheer historic weight, proven logistical infrastructure, and of course, its prestige. So it's a straight shootout for the ages, a completely modernized, visionary European cathedral versus one of the most famous, battle-tested venues in world sports history.
And the clock is ticking. UEFA has exactly 3 months to make their final decision on whether Camp Nou or Wembley gets the nod for 2029. 3 months. That's 3 months of intense lobbying behind closed doors, of complex architectural and financial presentations, and of rigorous site visits and security assessments. The outcome of this decision isn't just about prestige either. It will be a massive financial boon for whoever wins, bringing incredible local economic stimulation and a massive reputational boost on the global stage.
Finally, let's jump into Section 4, transfer market rumors and Barcelona's future planning. So how do all these moving parts actually tie into the club's long-term strategy? Let's break down 3 distinct scenarios impacting the transfer market right now. First up, we have Hamza. This piece of business is completely done. Al Ahly officially announced that Barca activated their €1.5 million purchase option, and he'll be signing on for 3 more years, locking in his development until 2029. Next, the Darwin Núñez situation, which is a bit more of a domino effect. The Uruguayan striker is currently in a holding pattern, waiting to resolve his future. Interestingly, his name has actively surfaced in recent high-level meetings between super agent Jorge Mendes and the Saudi club Al Hilal. Now, these talks were originally focused on João Cancelo, but as we know with Jorge Mendes, one deal often unlocks another, freeing up capital or roster spots. Liverpool is intensely watching how this interconnected web unfolds. Finally, Robert Lewandowski. Manchester United have their sights set on him, studying a potential market opportunity to bring the veteran Polish striker to the Premier League to bolster their attack. The massive hurdle here? Lewandowski's contract is notoriously heavy, and his astronomically high salary at Barcelona is severely complicating any potential move, even if the actual transfer fee were to be reasonable. 3 very different players, 3 very different stages of the transfer cycle, all directly impacting the future flexibility of Barca's checkbook. So, we've covered the fascinating, high-stakes, tactical, and fitness decisions for the World Cup opener, the billion-euro battle for the 2029 Champions League Final, and the interconnected dominoes of the latest transfer rumors. But as we look immediately ahead to the international stage, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought straight from today's reports. Which Barca player will stand out the most at the World Cup, and why? Will it be Yamal making the absolute most of his limited, carefully managed minutes to change a game state against tired legs? Or will someone entirely different step up to the plate and steal the show? Take a moment to think about that and keep it in mind as the tournament kicks off. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll catch you next time.